Now, Nunda is a water buffalo, as you probably know. They're also sometimes called Asiatic buffalo because they are found primarily in Asia, though there are many other places other than the continent that have them. Italy has large herds, for example, that they've imported mostly because only true mozzarella cheese comes from water buffalo milk. But the good majority of water buffalo are found in Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, India, but really they're all over. North America really is exclusive. The United States, Canada, Mexico, that we don't utilize this animal. They've been domesticated for over 5,000 years, and I suspect a lot longer than that. If that's correct, they're domesticated longer than even the dromedary camel. They've been a beast of burden and a service to mankind for a very, very long time. They're often confused with Cape buffalo. Cape buffalo are from Africa. They sort of look the same, but Cape buffalo tend to have leaner legs. Their horns at the top, they have well, kind of like a cape, a little bracket over the top that extends. If you can see on Nandi, his head's just solid, but if he were a Cape buffalo, they have a hardened horn and it almost extends all the way across like a bridge. They also tend to have more lighter fur, not in color but in density. They are also extremely dangerous and not domesticated. They're called the Black Death in Africa, and people say they're responsible for more deaths than any other animal on the continent. They're, I don't want to say highly aggressive, but they have a strong herd instinct. They're intelligent, and especially when you get a bull, but not even just the bulls, but they just don't mess around. They're extremely, extremely dangerous. Not so for water buffalo. They're very, very gentle and just naturally sweet. They've been domesticated for so, so long. They say there's some DNA left, that there are some wild water buffalo. There are many different subspecies, and one of those, kind of like the Bactrian camel, scientists say there's about 800 give or take left in the wild that are not domesticated, but pretty much the entire species is domesticated and extinct as a wild animal. And then we have what people usually think of as our plains, cowboys and Indians, the buffalo on the United States plains. And those are usually called American buffalo by a lot of people, but that's not correct. The only two true buffalo are Cape and water. The correct terminology for those buffalo you think of like in Yellowstone would be bison. Those are bison. He's like, oh, shock. Now, bison are much, much different from both water buffalo and Cape buffalo. They don't look the same. Everyone knows what a bison looks like. They're very furry. They have a large, large head so they can move and trod through the snow. Now, what Nandi is doing right now is he just spent all morning eating. It's the afternoon, and he's ruminating. They are ruminants like sheep, like camels, and what that means is that they digest their food, in a sense, twice. They have a rumen, it's a special organ, and the food goes through their multiple stomachs back to the rumen and is reprocessed. So they lay down like this, and he's got that kind of euphoric look on his face. It's almost a very thin line between, is this animal in an extraordinary amount of pain or pleasure? And the fact is, he's just ruminating. It's a very complex process as far as the system, and they kind of just bliss out and sit down. He's not in any pain. He's just ruminating, and he's chewing what's called cud up again, and this is the time he usually does it. It's about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun is kind of at the most intense. It's a perfect time for ruminating. If I were to pan the camera, baby's over there ruminating right now too, and I usually see it about this time. Usually happens about twice a day, and he'll ruminate pretty much until around sunset, and then he gets back up and he starts eating again. Yeah. Other large populations of water buffalo in India, there's so many different subspecies. There is in Vietnam and Thailand and such too, but They have a lot of subspecies, very different looking in between them, like true subspecies. Kind of like we have different breeds of dogs even. They look so different. Nunda was born on May 15th, 2018. So right now he's about 5 months old. So he's very much still a calf and a baby. For those that don't know, I have him because he was orphaned by his mother. His mother wouldn't feed him enough because her teat was chewed off by last year's calf. So when he came along the following year, well, when he went up to her, it hurt to be nursed. And then he was involved in an accident before I picked him up to bottle raise him. The vet thinks either the mom kicked him off because it hurt her, or he went to another mother for milk and she kicked him because, well, you're not my calf. And it fractured his shoulder in a way that he has a bone piece floating there. And there was no way to stabilize or fix it. So it caused him to have this limp. And what caused his leg to be crooked was I took him to the vet, and for 6 weeks he had a cast on, and it caused his radial nerve, which is the nerve right there, to become paralyzed. Now, there is still hope of that nerve being able to regenerate. I'm looking into alternative treatments. He's not in any pain. He can get around, but unfortunately he can't get around the way a normal buffalo calf should be romping and jumping and playing. He also had severe muscle degeneration from where the cast was on for 6 weeks because he couldn't move. So he's still building up muscle from that, and he's looking really good. Before, it almost looked like the side of his shoulder was cut out. Now he's building a lot more muscle, so he should be able to move around better and hopefully get stronger. I wouldn't say he's gotten any worse, but he hasn't improved in the way that I would like to see. He also really needs another bovine companion. I don't know where personally I could find another water buffalo friend for him. This wasn't something that, like, they're not too common in the United States. There are water buffalo farms, mostly for that mozzarella cheese, but it's not as if I can call down to, the local livestock auction or call someone and be like, hey, can I get one of your water buffalo calves as a friend for mine? They're a little bit harder to find than that. So what I think I'm going to do is look at cattle. I'm going to find a calf for him about the same age to encourage him to move around. Now, his personality, in one word, is sweet. He is very sweet. He's very intelligent. He's very loving. And there's just something in his eyes where he's just so intelligent and just intuitive. He understands things. He knows what's going on. Before I got him, he'd never been in a trailer before. He'd never done any of those things before. When I took him to the vet, obviously he'd never been to the vet before, and he was just so trusting. And even though he never did any of this, he just went with it. And I think he knew that, I was trying to help him and that people were trying to help him. I would compare owning him. Well, I don't really like that word, but I get a lot of slack from it in my wolf and wolf dog video where I say you cannot own a wolf or wolf dog. People say, oh, yes, you can. I own one. Well, you can own one legally, and legally I own Nandi because animals are considered property, but I don't like to think of that I own my animals. I like to think more that I live with them. Because they're not able to make their own decisions, such as they don't know how to go to the grocery store and pick out the right food for themselves, even if they could get there. If it was left up to them, they'd probably eat a bunch of candy and bad food just like your kids would. So I'm responsible for dictating their care, and that's what animal husbandry is. But I don't like to think of them as I own my couch or I own my car. Those are inanimate objects. This is a life, so I try not to use that word, but it's so common that it's even in my own vocabulary when it kind of just makes me uncomfortable. He's regurgitating again. Yeah. But it's a very nice fall day. It seems that autumn really turned the corner and it just came around so fast. Just last night, it suddenly dropped. You get that crisp fall kind of feeling. And even though we don't have the leaves changing colors here in Arizona, it's just a great feeling. It's brought my mouflon into rut. It's got Tesla, the llama, chasing everyone around. The camels are frisky. And I just thought I would talk a little bit more about him. And some things to look forward to is water buffalo get huge. So I can't wait for that. And originally I wanted to ride him. I thought it would be fun to ride him because I don't weigh very much and I'm kind of petite. The vet said it would probably be fine if I got up on him, but he's completely three-legged, so it's not looking good for me to be able to do that. I mean, we'll see, but I doubt it. Maybe I can ride the bull I get, the non-water buffalo bull, but I've been to Southeast Asia and I looked at the water buffalo there. It's actually the main reason I went, and I just really wanted to ride one. I talked to the locals there, and the kids all get on them and ride them down to their water hole every day. And I don't know, it's just something I always wanted to do. So that has been disappointing with him, but you know, whatever, I don't care. It's like, it's just not important. His comfort is most important. But his adult weight will be at least 2,000 pounds. That's how much they weigh. And his dad, I met his dad when I picked him up. His dad was a huge, massive bull. So he should be pretty big. And this brownish color that he is, and all this hair that he has, he's going to lose that and he'll be the more traditional, the solid black, where it kind of almost looks like they don't have hair. He's just, this is his baby coat. And since we're going into winter now, animals do acclimate and adjust based on where they are and the temperature. So he's probably going to hang on to that hair, and I don't think he'll shed it out until the end of spring going into summer 2019. And he's really going to start looking like a buffalo then. A lot of people have asked if I'm going to keep him, if he's going to make it. There shouldn't be any reason that his injury to his leg causes complications that will result in his death. He should be able to grow up just fine. I hope that he gets more use out of it, but it shouldn't kill him. If he was left alone or in the wild to his own devices, I don't think that he'd be able to get around enough to find the food he needs to keep such a large animal going, because he can't really move that far and he can't move a wide enough area to get all those grasses, to get all the nutrients. So I think he would be malnourished and die if someone wasn't looking after him. No, I don't think that any kind of herbivore, especially one that takes in so many nutrients, could survive this injury. But with human intervention and care, he should have a normal water buffalo life expectancy, which they can live 30, 40 years. I do plan on keeping him. I can't foresee anything that would cause me to not. But if I think an animal would be better off somewhere else for whatever reason, if I can't meet his needs, or someone else is like, oh, I have a bunch of three-legged water buffalo over here, he might be happier being able to relate to that, then no, I wouldn't keep him. But I don't foresee anything like that happening, and I'm going to keep looking for a friend for him, and I do plan to keep him myself. I think we've formed quite a bond, which tends to happen with bottle raising. But just in general, from helping him, I think he does really appreciate it. And I really appreciate his kindness and willingness to let me do so. I think that's all I'm going to say in this vlog about him. I hope for there to be many, many, many more. It feels good to be back and posting videos again. If you want to leave a comment and ask a question about Nunda, and it can be anything like what's his favorite food, or you could ask me a question about water buffalo in general, or what made me want a buffalo, or did I even want a buffalo, or did I just get him? You can ask anything that you want concerning Nunda, or my feelings towards him, or how he feels about something, and I'll do another video and I will answer those questions for next time. I think Nunda is done until the evening. He's fallen asleep. It's nice, like 66 degrees right now. With sun beating down, but not too hot. Just perfect day. All right, leave those comments below, and I'm gonna let Nunda rest. I'm gonna go feed the camels and take a break before I do the evening chores. Good night, and thanks for watching.